do CDC102. This is master copy studies in this course. It's going to follow, as far as our process of building up a drawing, the same as our CDC101 class on bark plates. There will be more of a challenge, though, in this class. We'll be working from historical paintings. And as I'm sure you've noticed, the bark plates are relatively simple. It's a picture of an isolated cast floating against a white or off-white background, whereas paintings themselves have a large variety of values and colors and shapes smashing into other shapes. And so our task is markedly harder, trying to distinguish and sort through the hodgepodge and plethora of shapes that we see. But our goal is to learn to start thinking like a painter, thinking of these as abstract shapes and overriding the part of your brain that's trying to fill in some of the blanks that the painter themselves has not painted. And we'll get more into that later as we go through the course. But each day it's going to start with a warm-up of 30 minutes of master copy studies, quick sketches with markers. And you'll get a demonstration on that. We'll walk you through how to do that. But you're going to be exposed for 30 minutes to 15 masterworks, 2 minutes each. And your task is going to be to capture the essential qualities of composition that those paintings exhibit. And we'll go over them in lecture, but they are going to be value structure, simplified value structure, any gestural qualities, and any detail that's relevant to eye flow or the design. So we will have our own little demonstration on how to do that, as well as a supplemental lecture course on composition. Now that is a different class. That's LEC 100, and that's 8 lectures set over the course of 8 weeks, and then a review and a final. And it's going to take us through topics such as historical studies of masters, of other masters of composition, as well as the mathematical qualities of composition, the stems that are similar in most paintings, and moving right on through each subject. So composition in figure, composition in portrait, composition in still life, even composition in modern art, and then taking us into the academic process of developing a composition. So it's a pretty inclusive course on the study of composition, condensed into 8 lectures. And for those of you who are at home, we probably will not have that filmed, but we will have a textbook with as many images as we can include to accompany the text coming out in the future. So watch out for that, and that'll be a good supplement to everything that you're learning through the DVD lectures and demonstrations. But for this class, you will be given 30-minute warm-up. So 2 minutes on each painting that you'll get to study, and then we'll go back through and I'll tell you who did each painting, and you can write down the names. So you're going to be exposed to a lot of artists who you might not have seen before, mostly classical or academic or Victorian, sort of that vein of artwork. And the idea being to begin to expose you to such high quality of artwork that's what you start to compare your work against, as opposed to comparing it against fellow students. I want you to be comparing it against master artists, and that's how we're going to elevate the quality of our work. So you'll get 30 minutes of that each day, and then we're going to come into the studio here, and you'll be working on your master copy drawing. We're going to do 2 assignments in this 10 weeks. The first is going to be a 4-week assignment of a shadow map of a master copy, and then a 6-week drawing where you're going to be developing a small section out in its entirety, hopefully, full value range and shape. So that's going to be how the course is set up. So 30 minutes in the morning of warm-ups, then you're going to move in here. You'll get 2.5 hours to work on your drawing. So even though we're only doing 2 assignments, you still don't have the full amount of time to work on each assignment in class. So you get maybe 8 to 10 hours for your first assignment, and then 12 to 15 hours or so on your second assignment. So we'll just push it as far as we can go. To give you an idea, though, of the length of time it would be required for you to develop the high level of finish that we're expecting to see here by the end of this 10 weeks in a master copy, the Mona Lisa that I did a copy of, that's on the cover of the textbook, that charcoal drawing, is 8 by 12 inches. So it's a relatively small drawing, and that has somewhere along the lines of 40 to 50 hours put into it. And that's at my level of skill. So if you're newer to this, you can expect, even just by going off of square inches, that's 96 square inches, 50 hours. So you're talking about 30 minutes per square inch minimum for somebody of my skill level. And so for someone of less skill level, we would expect even longer. So maybe upwards of an hour per square inch to finish it. So if we're doing a drawing in here that's a copy that's a 16 by 20, that's a lot of square inches to cover. So don't expect to get the full drawing done. At most, in 15 hours, I would expect you to get 15 square inches done. So maybe 3 inches by 5 inches tops in the whole length of your 6-week drawing. Now, I will encourage you to go home over the break and finish that last drawing. For those of you in class, for those of you working at home, I hope you finish the entire drawing out before advancing to the next stages of the program. And it will just give you more experience, and the more you stare at master copy paintings, the more you'll start to take on some of their tendencies towards simplification and making good choices as far as shapes and values and edges. So that's going to be how the course is set up. If you're working at home, I will encourage you, once you watch the video on how to do the master copy quick sketches, composition sketches, to do that as a warm-up each day before jumping out at the easel. So there's a lot of images out on the internet for good paintings. There's lots of great books. You can open just about any art book and do these composition sketches out of it. And the more you do it, the more you're going to learn about what makes good design. It'll start to be built intuitively into your working habits. And if you need any more references or sources of where to go, the back of the textbook does offer some websites as well as books that are great to look at for all this sort of stuff.